Hello everyone and welcome to Study IQ English. I am Joycey Joy. In this video, we'll be discussing about PM Gati Shakti. This was a much debated and much discussed topic in the Union Budget of 2022-23 and also it's evolving as one of the most important flagship programs of the Government of India. In this context, we'll be discussing about PM Gati Shakti in detail. Now, let's start with the slogan that the Honorable Prime Minister has revealed against this particular scheme, Pragati ki Gadi, Bharat ki Shakti. So this is the slogan that the Prime Minister himself has revealed about this. And let's first come to the aim and objective of PM Gati Shakti. It is one among the top priority of Amrit Kal proposed under Union Budget of 2022-23. So what is meant by this Amrit Kal? The Prime Minister, the government has referred to 2022. In 2022, we completed 75 years of independence and then the next 25 years. That is from the 75th year of independence to the 100th year of independence. This 25 years is considered as the Amrit Kal. The 25 years between 75 years of independence and 100 years of independence is referred to as the Amrit Kal. So in this Amrit Kal, government has proposed various schemes for the development of this country, and one among the top priority schemes for the government is the PM Gati Shakti. So it is one among the top priority for the government and it has been proposed in the Union Budget of 2022-23. It aims at providing an integrated and flawless connectivity for the movement of people, goods and services from one mode of transport to another, providing multi-modal connectivity infrastructure to various economic zones. This one sentence explains the entire purpose of PM Gati Shakti. So it's an integrated and flawless connectivity scheme. Integrated means integrating different modes of transportation, and flawless, that is without any hindrance. Now, integrated means that suppose you live in a village and the only connectivity you have is bus. So, you take a bus from your village and you reach the city. From there, you have to move to Delhi. Suppose the only way you can transport is through a train, or there are buses, trains, etc. You want to transit by train. Then from Delhi you have to move to some outskirts through a waterway. So if at any point there is a hindrance, you cannot reach your final destination. So integrated means different modes of transportation like the roadway, railway, waterway, different modes of transportation are connected to each other to create a flawless connectivity to help the passenger or to help the goods and services. It is not just for people but also for goods and services as well to reach the final destination. So it aims at providing an integrated and flawless connectivity for the movement of people, goods and services from one mode of transportation to another. That is providing a multi-modal connectivity. Multi-modal means different modes of connectivity. Different modes. It can be railway, waterway or roadway also to various economic zones. Why? Because this will enhance the trade and transportation. So we can say that PM Gati Shakti is a scheme that is aimed at ensuring seamless logistics or seamless flow of logistics, or it is focused towards the logistics sector in the country. It has a centralized planning method. That is, the planning for the scheme is done at the central level. The central government will do the planning, and it's an intra-sectoral and inter-sectoral growth objective. It has a intra-sectoral and inter-sectoral growth. Intra-sectoral means between different sectors. Inter-sectoral between the same sector, different factors within the same sector. And it aims at achieving $5 trillion of GDP. So $5 trillion GDP is the target of the government as well. So PM Gati Shakti will help in achieving this target of $5 trillion GDP. There are six pillars for PM Gati Shakti. First one is comprehensiveness. By comprehensiveness, we mean that all departments are included in this. It's a comprehensive package including every department, every ministry. Why? Because it's a very ambitious goal. It's also a very broad objective to achieve. All departments now have the visibility of each other's projects through a centralized portal. So it's a comprehensive scheme. Second is prioritization. Second pillar of PM Gati Shakti. Through cross-sectoral interactions, various departments will be able to prioritize their projects. That is cross-sectoral interactions. That is interaction between different sectors. Through cross-sectoral interactions, various departments will have to prioritize. They will prioritize their projects. Third is optimization. The national master plan will help in selecting the most optimum route in terms of time and cost. There are different ways by which you can achieve the target, but the optimum way is the one which reduces your time and the cost in achieving the same. So optimization is the third pillar. Fourth is synchronization. That is synchronizing the activities of different departments, different levels of government, different ministries, etc. Then next is analytical. That is, the plan will consolidate all data into a single location using the GIS-based spatial planning and analytical tools with about 200 plus layers, allowing the executing agency for a better visibility. So, it will be analytical and finally dynamic. That is, identifying vital interventions for enhancing and updating the master plan. So, these are the 6 pillars of PM Gati Shakti: comprehensiveness, prioritization, optimization, synchronization, analytical and dynamic. Now we'll see what is the significance or need for such a scheme in the country. India's economic development and population growth needs an improved infrastructure creation. On one side, we are aiming at a higher economic development, growth and development. On the other hand, India has a huge population. We are the second most populous country in the world. So these two things, these two features of Indian economy creates the demand for improved infrastructure. Only if there is improved infrastructure, there will be higher investment, higher productivity, high growth and development. Apart from that, high population in the country also demands for a higher or better infrastructural development. Then PM Gati Shakti aims at resolving the infrastructural issues in India. So it is a project or a scheme aimed at resolving the infrastructural issues in the country. The infrastructural issues like disjointed planning, non or underutilization of installed capacity, lack of standardization and synchronization, interdepartmental issues, etc. So these issues related with infrastructural development will be resolved by this scheme. Now we are coming to the limitations of PM Gati Shakti. What are the limitations? First one is long-term planning is not very well tested in developing nations. It's a very long-term plan. PM Gati Shakti is a very long-term plan. India is familiar with 5-year plans, and now we stopped 5-year plans and we have a think tank in place which is Niti Aayog, which does strategic planning for India. Long-term perspective planning, medium-term planning and short-term planning. But in case of India or in case of any other developing country, long-term planning is not a very well tested thing. That is, developing countries have lack of resources, lack of capacities to implement and execute long-term plans. So it's a kind of testing for India now. Second thing is the changing dynamics of the economy and possibility of change in the government. This has been introduced by the present government and it's a long-term plan. So if the government changes in the future, it's not certain that the upcoming government also carries forward the plan as it is. There can be changes, sometimes it can be deleted from its agenda, so that is a risk factor. India is a dynamic country. We have multiple political parties in place and also there are chances of coalition, change in government, change in the dynamics of the economy, etc. Third is the issues with cooperative federalism. Since this is a long-term plan and also a very comprehensive plan, the central government cannot implement and execute this idea as a single entity. It needs the cooperation of the state government. So what happens here is sometimes the plans and the policies of the central government may not seem nice to the state governments. So it's not certain whether the state government will enhance their cooperation or extend their cooperation to the central government plans and policies. So there are tensions and uncertainties regarding the cooperative federalism, whether the state governments will join the center in this or not, especially in those states where it is ruled by a different party, where the government is formed by a different political party. There is too much focus on industrial sector, and also there are financing issues. Already the government of India has huge fiscal deficit. The borrowings of the country are very high. So in this situation, implementing such a futuristic project and also a project which needs huge financial resources can be a risk factor for the government. There are certainly financing issues which needs to be considered. We have FRBM Act in place which talks about reducing the fiscal deficit. Already the fiscal deficit is high, so government cannot resort to high borrowings to implement the scheme. Then over centralization of the planning. That is the scheme, as we said, there is a centralized planning component in the scheme. And this over centralized planning may affect the federalism features and thereby reduce the cooperation of the state governments. These are the limitations the scheme can face. And how will this boost India's economic growth? Or how this scheme will help in enhancing the economic growth or GDP of the country? Public transport platforms can no longer operate in isolation and must come together to provide integrated and seamless connectivity to the commuters. That is, the country or the government is aiming at last mile connectivity, and this scheme can ensure last mile connectivity. Now, to give an example of a last mile connectivity issue, take the case of Delhi Metro. Delhi Metro has obviously helped the Delhi population, the urban population of Delhi, to commute easily and faster. But one of the major criticisms that the Delhi Metro or any other metro project in the country has faced is the problem of last mile connectivity. If you live near to the metro station, it's very easy to commute. But from the metro station to the place where you live, there are lack of transportation or transportation hindrances. So this scheme, that is PM Gati Shakti, being a multi-modal connectivity scheme, will help in ensuring last mile connectivity. Second one, this will facilitate seamless movement of people, goods and services from one mode of transport to the another. That is, it will promote ease of living by providing multi-modal connectivity. The plan will inform the general public and business community about forthcoming connectivity projects as well as commercial hubs, industrial districts and surrounding environment. So this plan, the PM Gati Shakti, will inform the general public and business community about the upcoming connectivity projects, commercial hubs, industrial districts and surrounding environment. This will allow investors to strategically locate their enterprises, resulting in increased synergy. Why? Because businesses always want better commutation, better transportation. So this will create strategic locations where the connectivity is easily available. Investments will increase, employment opportunities will increase, and the overall development will also increase. Environmental clearances, common facilities, single window clearance system required by the industries are provided upfront, facilitating ease of doing business. So along with the implementation of infrastructural projects, environmental clearances, common facilities, single window clearance, etc. will be other features of the scheme. This will enhance the ease of doing business for the industries, and this will promote investment in the country. And this investment has multiple externalities, positive externalities like the GDP growth by increasing productivity, employment creation, better standard of living, development of the country, etc. So these are the significances of PM Gati Shakti for the economy, how it will enhance economic growth. So that's it about the PM Gati Shakti. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the very best.